The Evolution of the Modern Jew and How They Reject Jesus by Jihad Zenith. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The history of the word Jew stretches across millennia, and its meaning has shifted repeatedly as cultures and empires gave it shape. At its origin, the word comes from Judah, Yehuda in Hebrew, one of the 12 sons of Jacob. His descendants became the tribe of Judah, and after the division of ancient Israel into two kingdoms, the southern half bore his name. Those who lived there were called Yehudim, Judahites, a designation that carried the weight of bloodline, land, and heritage. This identity later traveled through Greek, Iudaios, and Latin, Iudaeus, before surfacing in Old French as Juyu, and finally appearing in English as Jew. In its earliest use, the word was created and used by surrounding nations to identify a people of tribal and national descent, not a religion in the modern sense. By the time of Jesus in the 1st century, the meaning of Jew had already broadened. After the Babylonian exile and the return to the land under Persian rule, the word came to describe all Israelites who upheld the covenant and the Torah, even if they were not directly from Judah's line. Thus, by the Second Temple era, Jew signified both an ancestry and a faith community. This dual meaning would later create confusion, as outsiders tried to separate what ancient Israelites themselves saw as one whole identity of people, land, and law. This background explains why Jesus never once declared, "I am a Jew." His identity was obvious by lineage and by practice. The Gospels describe him as a descendant of David from the tribe of Judah, living according to the traditions of Israel. He worshipped in synagogues, celebrated Passover, and taught from the Torah. In his world, there was no need to claim the title because his very birth and actions showed who he was. He was recognized by others as a son of Israel rooted in Judah, even as many disputed his authority. Yet the Jewish religious leadership of his time rejected him as Messiah. While some Jews followed him, most priests, Pharisees, and elders opposed his claims. Later rabbinic writings even insulted his mother Mary, revealing the hostility that grew between those who embraced him and those who did not. What began as a dispute within one nation hardened into two separate faiths, Christianity and Judaism. From that point forward, Jew came to mean, above all, those who rejected Jesus' messiahship. In the centuries that followed, the meaning of Jew was reshaped by outside forces. The Christian world, seeking to distinguish itself, began calling Judaism a religion, a classification foreign to the ancient Hebrews. Medieval Islamic societies similarly labeled Jews as a distinct minority under the category of Ahl al-Kitab, people of the book. By the Enlightenment in Europe, governments granting civil rights insisted that Jews could be German or French by nationality, but only Jewish by religion. Thus, Europeans redefined the word almost entirely as a faith label, detached from its original connection to tribe and bloodline. Meanwhile, the descendants of Abraham were scattered across the earth. From the Babylonian exile to the Roman destruction of the temple in 70 CE, dispersions forced the children of Israel into Africa, Asia, and Europe. Over centuries, migrations, intermarriage, and persecution blurred and scattered the bloodlines. The modern state of Israel is home to Jews from Eastern Europe, Russia, Ethiopia, Yemen, Morocco, and beyond. Many share the practice of Judaism, but few can trace an unbroken descent from Judah himself. As a result, Jew today largely identifies a religious community, while the direct national and tribal descent from Abraham's line is nearly impossible to prove with certainty. It is therefore crucial to distinguish between Jew as nationality and Jew as religion. In the ancient world, the word described the children of Judah with lineage and land. Over time, especially under European influence, it became a word for a dispersed people bound by faith alone. When Jesus lived, he was recognized as part of that nation, though he never claimed the title. But as Judaism defined itself in contrast to Christianity, the word became more about rejecting him than descent. Today, the contrast is striking. The ancient descendants of Judah remain scattered and difficult to trace, while the modern Jew is most often defined by religion. Jesus, born of Judah's line, was rejected by the authorities of his day, and that rejection continues within Judaism as it exists now. The word Jew, once tied to blood, tribe, and covenant, has become largely a religious label. The question of true descent from Abraham and Judah lingers unresolved, but the reality remains. The people called Jews today are bound more by religious practice shaped in exile in Europe than by provable bloodlines of the tribe from which the word first arose.